War of Independence, the longest internecine war in human history, and how the British skillfully made one of the most powerful African tribes their protectorate. The longest war against tyranny in human history was an internecine war fought by the same ethnic group of African people. The war dragged on intermittently for 57 years initially, but became highly intense for another 16 years, making it the longest internecine war in human history. Kiriji War was an epic battle fought by the Yorubas for 16 years and is believed to be the world's longest internecine civil war by any ethnic group. The war, which was at its peak between 1877 and 1893, according to historians, was the fiercest tribal war among the Yoruba ethnic group of southwest Nigeria. Historians are amazed that the Yorubas still remain as one homogeneous group even after the events of those days. The fall of the old Oyo Empire, which had dominated the region for 500 years, left a gap in the government of Yoruba land. Many city-states which were previous provinces of the empire rose up to replace the dominant Oyo Empire, including Ibadan. Ibadan had won the 1840 Oshogbo War and the Battle of Ijaye in 1862, and had grew in immense power, almost rising to that of its predecessor. Like all global superpowers, Ibadan was set to embark on an expansionist program that extended its reach to much of Yoruba land. It started appointing district officers known as Ajeles to rule the conquered territories that belonged to other brother Yorubas on its behalf. It did not take long for the Ajeles, Ibadan appointed district heads, to transform into despots. They became corrupt and power-drunk, demanding ridiculous homage and exorbitant tributes. The Yoruba vassal states of Ijesha and Ekiti revolted and massacred the Ibadan appointed district heads. They formed a confederacy called Ekiti Parapo, Ekiti Brotherhood, and declared their independence from Ibadan. The motives for war: Ibadan knew the dire consequences of allowing such action to go unpunished, as it would encourage other conquered territories to declare independence. Ibadan wanted a centralized political system with a central economy, a command military structure, a central administration, and a forcefully united Yoruba nation, while the other Yoruba subgroups wanted a decentralized structure where all the federating units would be autonomous and would be able to plan their political future based on their own heritage. This led to the epic Yoruba war called the Kiriji War in 1877, when the Ibadan police, navy, infantry, and artillery soldiers, led by General Badoke Latosha, invaded the entire Commonwealth of Yoruba nation, pummeled the sacred institutions, raided the markets and the deepest hinterlands, and sought to proclaim a forcefully united Yoruba nation. Kiriji War is the longest civil war by any ethnic group, 1877 to 1893, lasting 16 years. Ibadan was led by its commander-in-chief Obatoke Latosha, while the Ekiti Parapo army was led by Fabomi of Okemesi. The Ibadan army pitched their camp at Igbajo, while the Ekiti Parapo people put their camp at Imesi Ile. Somewhere along the line, Sharabi Ogedengbe, famously known as Ogedengbe Agbogungboro, the Balogun of Ijeshaland, became the general commander-in-chief of the Ekiti Parapo army, and the appointment greatly influenced the turn of events, as Ogedengbe was a renowned military strategist. Eventually, Ibadan found itself fighting on 5 fronts. First, in the south against the Egba, who confined their activities to raids and surprise attacks. Secondly, against the Ijebu in the same south, who pitched a camp against them at Oru under Balogun Afowokan. Thirdly, the main war at Kiriji in the east, where their forces fought a long battle against the Ekiti and Ijesha. Against the Ekiti and Ijesha Parapo forces under the command of Ogedengbe. Fourthly, at Ofa in the north, where they faced the Ilorin Fulani, who pitched their camp against the people of Ofa, an ally of Ibadan. And finally at Ile-Ife, where the Ife people joined the alliance against them in 1882. However, in spite of Ibadan's disadvantages in the war, these 5 forces could not effect its defeat. A state of stalemate was reached from which only the intervention of an outside force could redeem the whole Yoruba nation. During the war, all the sub-ethnic groups of the Yoruba either supported Ibadan or the Ekiti. The main reason for the civil war, as we stated, was an attempt to halt the expansive efforts of the Ibadan city-state, which attempted to replace the Oyo Empire as the dominant region in Yoruba land. In addition, Ibadan wanted a unified Yoruba nation similar to that of Oyo Empire, while the Ekiti wanted a loose federation of cities that had existed in the Ekiti region. The Western Yoruba, the Ibadan, were led by the Haruna Kakanfo Obatoke Latosha, the military commander-in-chief. They quickly gained the support of people of Modakeke, Ofa, and Oyo. The Eastern Yoruba, known as the Ekiti Parapo, were led by Fabomi from the town of Okemesi and was later led by Sharabi Ogedengbe, the Balogun captain of Ijeshaland. Most of the other Yoruba groups supported the Ekiti, including the Jebu, Ife, Egba, Akoko, Igbomina, Ilorin, and Kaba. The Civil War saw one of the most technically advanced and decisive wars in West Africa, with the use of cannons and imported guns from Hamburg, Germany. Weapons were also imported through the Lagos, Abo, and Benin. The Ekiti Parapo also used several modern tactics, like the building of trenches and platoons, a spy network with the headquarters in the town of Ilara-Mokin, and the use of animal behavior and symbols as signals in the war. Etymology: the name Kiriji is an onomatopoeic word that is said to describe the sound of cannons used by the Ekiti Parakpo troops, and it was the first war in the region that used these weapons. The other name, the Ekiti Parakpo, comes from the name given to the Eastern Yoruba forces and means in the Yoruba language, Ekiti Union. The war unofficially ended with the signing of a peace treaty of September 26, 1896 that granted independence to the Ekiti Union. However, conflict still occurred around the Ijebu area that did not end till the conquering of the Ijebu by the British during the British-Ijebu War. Sir Robert Lister Bower convinced the two warring sides to surrender as they had both been severely weakened during the war. Unable to prevent the occupation of the British, southern Nigeria was subsequently declared a protectorate of the British Empire. The casualties of the war are unknown, but it is said that there was no killing of children or women, and about 500,000 soldiers fought in the war in total. Watch out for our next story. Unbelievable story of the black man that defeated the Belgian army, a real African avatar. Don't miss it.